Hi everyone, today I'm about to do a 2023 November Mathematics Paper 1 question paper. I'll only focus on functions. That means I'll do question 4, 5 and 8. If you are still struggling with the basics of functions, guys, please click on I've created a playlist there for functions and graphs. Lesson number 12 is for linear functions. Lesson number 13, I touch a hyperbola. Lesson number 14 is exponential graphs. 15, logarithmic graph. Lesson 16 is a quadratic function. Lesson 17 is a cubic. And then lesson 18, I just deal with inverse functions only. That's the most important one. And then lesson 19, I did derivative functions. So if you are struggling with functions, there is a playlist created for you so that you can watch everything that is there. Are we together? Please stay tuned. Like, subscribe, and share, comment if you want to. Okay. Today we are doing question 4. We are told that sketch below is the graph of f of x. We are given f of x to be equal to 2 to the power x minus 4. The minus 4 is the horizontal asymptote, which is that one, so I'll just indicate y is minus 4 there. For x element of 2, between 2 and 4, okay, we are given the domain of this graph. We are told that this graph will start at 2 and it will end there. Are we together? So we can even find the corresponding y values for those two x values. The corresponding y value, the y value there, when x is a negative 2, whenever I substitute a negative 2 there, I'll have f of negative 2 is equal to 2 to the minus 2 minus 4, 1 over 4 minus 4. Okay, so this is minus 15 over 4, the corresponding y value. And then here, whenever x is 4, I have 2 to the 4, which is 16 minus 4. The corresponding y value is 12. Okay, so by just having these here, I can have the domain and the range for this graph. Since this graph is a restricted function, this will be my domain. This will be my domain, and then my range. My range will be y is between negative 15 over 4 and 12. The negative 15 over 4 is included. All right, together. So others may prefer to write it like this. Y is an element of negative 15 over 4 and 12, like this. So now I have the range and the domain of this graph. Okay, let me answer the questions. The first question, they want us to write the equation of the asymptote. Already we did say that this thing will give us the asymptote. Right, together. So the answer, y is equal to a negative 4. 4.2, we are asked to determine the coordinates of b. B is the x-intercept of the graph. Right, together. For us to find the x-intercept, we must make y 0, solve, and then solve x. We have 2 to the x minus 4. We must make y 0 and then solve for x. I can take the 4 to the other side. I'll have 2 to the x make bases to be the same, excuse me, then x is 2. Simply means that the x value there is 2 and the y value is 0. So the coordinates of B are 2 and 0, like this. Determine the equation of K, the straight line passing through A and B. The straight line passing through A and B, already we know that the y-intercept there will be the same as the y-intercept that is at the exponential graph. Right, together. So firstly we need to find the coordinates of A. How can we do so? We have an equation there, 2 to the x minus 4. We know that at A the value of x is 0, so the corresponding y value will be -3. Right, together. So I know that my equation will be y is equal to mx minus 3. I know that it's a fact because it will pass here as well. So all I need to find now is the value of m. I can substitute the point, any point on the line. In our case we have point B, right, together, and I know that for B the x value, y is 2, or y is 0 rather, whenever x is 2. Then all I need to do is to find m, right, together. So therefore m is equal to 3 over 2. So the equation k of x will be equal to 3 over 2x minus 3. Okay. Determine the vertical distance between k and f when x is equal to 1. Let me erase everything here. The graph of k will go like this. Okay, and x is equal to 1 somewhere here. So the graph of k is above the graph of f. So all I need to do is to find for the vertical distance, always make the top graph minus the bottom graph, always the time. So in this case we'd say 3 over 2x minus 3, and then this will subtract 2 to the x minus 4. Are you together? And then we will have 3 over 2 to the minus 3 minus 2 to the x plus 4. The vertical distance will be given by this equation, 3 over 2x minus 2 to the power x plus 1. Right, together. And then all we need to do is to just substitute 1 there. Therefore the distance will be 3 over 2 all we need to do is to substitute 1 there, put 1 and 1. Then I'll have 3 over 2 minus 1 minus 2 plus 1. The answer is 1 over 2. So the vertical distance at x is equal to 1. Distance at x is equal to 1 is 0.5 units. Write down the equation of g if it is given that g is f of x plus 4. This thing simply means that for us to find the equation of g of x, we must move the graph of f 4 units up. Right, together. So we'll say g of x will be equal to 2 to the power x, because the minus 4 and the plus 4 will subtract one another. So the equation of g of x will be just this. Write down the domain of g of x. The domain is still the same, because remember that the graph of f was restricted, so the graph of g will be restricted as well. Right, together. The only thing that happened, the y values were just shifted 4 units up, but x remains the same. So this thing simply means that the domain of g, or the domain of the inverse, they want the domain of the inverse. Okay, for us to find the domain of the inverse simply means we must find the range of the original. Are you together? So for this graph, the domain of f of x was rather the range of f of x was this one. Right, together. Since the graph of g is the same as the one of f of x, but it's just shifted 4 units up, I'll just add 4 to those y values. Right, together. So whenever I add 4, the range for g of x, its y is an element of 1 over 16 and 1 over 4 and 16. Why is that? Because remember that I had negative 15 over 4 and I had 12. All I needed to do was to just add a 4. Are you together? When I say minus 15 over 4 plus 4, I'll get this. 12 plus 4, I'll get this. So remember that, guys, whenever you deal with functions, the range of the original graph will become the domain of the inverse function. Are you together? So I'll just say x is an element of negative 15 over 4 and 16. Are we together? The range of your inverse function will always be equal to the domain of the original graph, and vice versa. The equation of g of x. Please note that, guys, if you have g of x equal to 2 to the power x, the inverse always happen on this line where y is equal to x. This thing simply means you must just interchange both x and y. Whenever you see y, just put x, and whenever you see x, just put y. And then now your duty is to just isolate x. Are you together? But I can't do that here. I must just introduce logarithms both sides, and then log x is equal to y log of 2. Are you together? I can divide both sides by the log of 2. Then this will cancel this. Y will be equal to log x base 2. So y is equal to that. That's how you tackle that question, guys. Then now we move to question 5. Question 5, we are given two graphs, the graph of f, which is a parabola, and the graph of G, which is a hyperbola. They are drawn below. Okay, a point of intersection of F and G is B, which is the turning point of F. So since I'm given my graph like this, I'm told the coordinates of the turning point, rather, they are 1 and 8. Okay. The graph of F has the x-intercepts at -3 and 5. Okay, and the y-intercept at C. Okay. Write down the coordinates of the turning point. Turning point, it's point B. That's 1 in 8. Calculate the coordinates of C. C is the y-intercept. For us to find the y-intercept, we must always make x 0 and then solve for y. If I make x 0, I will have 1 over 2. This thing is the same as minus 1 over 2 plus 8, 15 over 2. Okay, so the coordinates of C is 0 and 15 over 2. Write down the value of D. The value of D, I have G of x is equal to D over x. For me to find D, I must just substitute any point on the graph. I do have the point. The point is that one of B. Are you together? So I know that the y value is 8 whenever x is 1. So D is equal to 8. Write down the range of G. The range of G. Okay, whenever they ask you about the range, they are asking you where is your graph visible according to the y values. Are you together? So I know that's y. Y is an element of real numbers. However, y must not be equal to 0. Are you together? Why? Because the x-axis acts as the asymptote. Or you can write your answer like this if you want to. Y is an element of negative in my handwriting, guys, is so terrible. Y is an element of negative infinity to 0 or 0 to infinity. It's up to you how you prefer to write your answer. Are you together? And then for which values of x will the graph of f and g have different signs? Okay. Let me erase here. Graph of f and g have different signs. Please note, guys, that in this case we are just going to focus on where is our graph. We are multiplying two things here, and we get a negative answer. It simply means that we are multiplying things that have different signs. Are you together? So in simple English, in this case, we want the values of x whereby one of our graph is above the x-axis, whereas the other graph is below the x-axis at the same time. Are you together? So whenever our graph is above the x-axis, I will indicate in blue. I'll just write the positive signs there. Why am I writing positive? Because above the x-axis, y is positive, and the y is the variable that represent the graph. Are you together? So when y is negative, my graph will be negative as well. And y is only negative above the x-axis. Are you together? Even for g of x, when the graph is below the x-axis, it is negative, but when the graph is above the x-axis, that graph is positive. Please note that I've written the positives in blue, the negatives in red. Okay, I'm just going to scan from left to right. I'm looking for a space whereby I have those two different colors in the same region of X, right, together. When I move from left to right, from the left hand side of -3, both of my graphs are below the x-axis, hence both of them are red here, right, together. However, from here to here, one of them is blue, one of them is red, one of them is above, and one of them is below. So I can simply say here the first answer, when x is between -3 and 0. Please note that the -3 is included, but the 0 is not included. Why? Because it's the asymptote. All together. The other place whereby I have red and blue simultaneously is from here going to infinity. The graph of G will forever be above the x-axis because the x-axis acts as the asymptote. So I know that the second solution will be like x is greater or equal to 5. Are we together? Okay, and then now we must do 5.6. Calculate the values of k so that h of x will not intersect the graph. H of x will not intersect the graph. In this case, guys, you must consider that h of x is a straight line graph. Right, together. H of x is a straight line graph, and g of x is a hyperbola. Please note that the relationship of a hyperbola and a straight line is always determined by the discriminant. So we'll go and use nature of roots out together. If a curve and a straight line intersect, delta must be equal to 0. If the curve and the straight line touch once, that means that the line is a tangent, delta must be equal to 0. If they don't touch or intersect at all, delta is less than 0. Right, together. So here we want the values of k for which h will not intersect g. So the nature of root is already described for us. I know that delta for the intersection should be 0. How do I get my intersection? I just need to say g of x is equal to h of x. Right, together. My g of x is 8 over x, and my h of x is equal to -2x plus k. Right, together. I must multiply everything by x. I'll be left with 8 minus 2x squared plus kx. Put everything to be in standard form. I'll have positive 2x squared minus kx plus 8 is equal to 0. Now I know that the value of a is 2, the value of b -k, c is 8, delta is less than 0. Are you together? So this thing simply means that I will just continue there. I'll just say delta is less than 0. It's together. I know that delta is b squared minus 4ac. B is -k. A is 2. C is 8. This thing is k squared minus 64 is less than 0. When I factorize this, I'll get k k 8 and 8 minus and plus. Put the critical values on the number line. I have minus 8 and positive 8, minus, plus, and minus. So k must be between negative 8 and 8. Are you together? So for the graph of h not to intersect, simply means k must be between a negative 8 and 8. Okay, h is a tangent to g at r. Now they are saying h is a tangent to g at r, a point in the first quadrant. Calculate t such that y is equal to f of x plus t intersects g at r. Okay, now we are told that h of x is a tangent to the graph at point r. Are you together? Okay, here I want to apply calculus here because h is a tangent to g at r. Okay, so if I know the equation of g to be 8 over x, simply means the derivative. Okay, let me not jump to the derivative yet. Simply means that 8 is equal to x, g is equal to 8 times x to the minus 1, then g prime of x is negative 8 times x to the minus 2. Please note that the derivative of a gradient is the gradient of a tangent is always equal to the derivative of a curve. Are you together? So since I'm told that h is a tangent now at point r, simply means that the derivative is negative 2 because the gradient of h of x is negative 2 there. Are you together? So now I need to find the x value where the gradient is negative 2. Here I will just divide everything by a negative 8. I'll have x to the minus 2 equaling to 1 over 4, and then x I'll find 2. Are you together? So now I know that the x value at r is 2. How can I find the y value? I can just substitute there at g, because point r is on the curve of g. So when x is equal to 2, that means the y value is 4. So now I know point r. Point r is equal to 4. What was the question saying? Calculate t such that y is equal to f of x plus t intersects at r. Y is equal to f of x plus t. Okay, this thing is simple. I know that y is equal to f of x plus t, ne? However, f of x is equal to this guy. Now there is a t there. Are you together? They want me to find t. All I need to do is to substitute this point to the equation of y. I'll just substitute that point there. I know that y is 1, y is 4 whenever x is 2. So this thing simply means I have 4 here, and then I have negative 1 over 2. Actually, let me just do this at once. I have 8 minus half, which is 15 over 2 plus t. Together, therefore t is equal to 4 minus 15 over 2. 4 minus 7, 5 is negative 3, 5, which is negative 7 over 2. So the value of t will be this one. Are you together? Okay, the first thing here I needed to do was to find the coordinates of r. How did I do that? I was told that h is a tangent. So I know that the derivative of a curve is equal to the gradient of a tangent at a specific x value. So I know that my gradient is negative 2. I need to equate that gradient to the derivative so that I can find the x value. After finding the x value, I go and find its corresponding y value. Then after doing that, I'll just substitute both my x and y values into this equation. And then I'll find the value of t. Okay, now let's go in and do the cubic function. Okay, 8.1, I'm asked to determine the turning points of f. They want me to find the turning points of f now. For the turning point, I need to always make my first derivative equal to 0, then solve. My first derivative is equal to negative 3x squared plus 12x minus 9. I must make this guy to be equal to 0 for me to find the turning point, and then solve x. 3x squared then I'll have x squared minus, I'll divide everything by negative 3 there. Have x and x, 3 or 1, then x is 3 or x is 1. Okay, so x is 1 here. If it makes sense, if I'm given my graph like this, they're telling me that 1 is a point where the graph touches and turns at the x-axis. Right, together. So I know that since they wanted me to find the coordinates, I must find the corresponding y values, né? So f of 3, I'll just substitute 3 whenever I see x. I'll be left with 3 minus 1 all squared is 4. Yeah, f of 3 is 4, and then f of 1 will be 0. So the coordinates of the turning point, TP1, let me just write down the coordinates. The first one is 3 and 4, and the second one is 1 and 0. They want us to sketch the graph. Okay, I know the turning point, I know the x-intercepts. They are given to me. And since the value of a is negative, I know that my graph will look like this. Whereby I know here x is 1 and this one x is 4. The turning point there, the coordinates are 3 and 4, and the y-intercept, it was given there, is 4 as well. I'm asked a question to use the graph to determine the values of k for which this equation will have 3 unequal roots. Okay, k just represents a horizontal line. Now I'll just indicate that like this. So if I draw a horizontal line anywhere between my turning points, I'll have three different intersections with the graph. Right, together. But when I do that here, there's only one intersection there. When I do that here, above the other turning point, there's only one intersection. So for me to have three unequal routes, k must be between the minimum and the maximum value. Must be between 0 and 4. Okay, that's our function, né? Okay, the line of G is a tangent to f of x at the point of inflection. Determine the equation of G. Okay, firstly we need to find the point of inflection, because the tangent is in contact with f of x at the point of inflection. For us to find the equation of a tangent, we need a point and a gradient. Right, together. So how would we do that? Let's check whether the space is enough. For the point of inflection, firstly I need to find my derivative. My derivative is equal to 3x squared plus 12x minus 9. Then my second derivative is equal to negative 6x plus 12 plus 12. And then after that, I must equate the second derivative to 0, then solve x. Negative 6x is equal to negative 12. Then x is 2. Right, together. X is 2. I can therefore find the corresponding y value. The corresponding y value. How can I find it? F of 2 will give me 2 minus 1 is 1. Will give me 2 as well. So the point of inflection, guys, is just 0.2 and 2. Now I need to find my gradient whenever x is 2. I do have a derivative, remember? Here's my derivative there. So I'll just say f prime of 2. Whenever I see x on the derivative, I'll just substitute 2, né? So whenever I do that, I'll have minus 3 times 4, which is negative 12. Negative 12 plus 24 is a positive 12. 12 minus 9 is equal to 3. So the gradient is 3 and the point is 2 and 2. So I'll just say y is equal to 3x plus c. Then I'll just substitute the point. I'll just substitute the point there. 3. The point is 2 and 2. Then I'll solve for c. C is equal to minus 4. So my g of x is equal to 3x minus 4. Alright, together. Question 8.5, they want me to find the acute angle formed between g and the x-axis. They want me to find the angle of inclination. Are we together? I know that for me to find the acute angle formed between the x-axis and the line is called the angle of inclination. Né? If I want to find the gradient, I can use this equation if ever I have the angle of inclination. Therefore, if I want the angle of inclination, I must say tan inverse of the gradient. Let me just substitute first before doing this. The gradient is 3 now. just need to say therefore theta is tan inverse of 3. Sithola abantu masenza kanje 71.57. Yeah, that's how you answer this question, guys. I hope this was fruitful. Stay tuned and wait for more videos, guys. Thank you.